Hi, welcome to Mobile DJ Mixdown. I'm DJ Paul, and either you're a DJ interested in DJing or have nothing else better to do with your time right now. This is the new podcast where each episode we talk about all things music, all things DJ, and all things disco. Each episode I'll have a guest join me, fellow DJ. This week we have Michael Jarvis, aka Black Belt DJ.
Well, thank you for having me, Paul. It's great to be here. I mean, first episode. What more can we say? Yeah, so I'm Michael, as you said. You might be wondering, obviously you said Black Belt DJ, but I've got MJ on my shirt here. So I'll tell you a bit more about that. So I started off as MJ Music Services. I've been running as MJ Music Services for about the last 2 years. I just feel like it's about time to rebrand. You know, you might be asking yourself why the Black Belt DJ, and it's just a funny little story. I'm into martial arts. I do karate, and I got my black belt in December last year.
So moral of that story is if you ever hire Michael and you piss him off or you ask him for a really rubbish song, he's going to karate chop you and tell you to get back at him.
Yeah.
To be fair, I went through a rebrand. I don't know if you remember, my original kind of DJ business name was Paul's Disco. But it was Paul's Disco. My brother, who was an electrician, made me a box. It was really badly made. It wasn't. I think I've still got it somewhere. But it was one of them light boxes. He did it all himself. Cut out tissue paper, built it in, put plastic in front of it. There were lights behind it, and that actually lit up. Okay. But at the back of the box was an extension lead. So that was like my first kind of like business brand, DJ brand. I then rebranded as Paul's Disco and Karaoke. And then within the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 years is when I rebranded as DJ Paul. As on my Facebook, it is still Paul's Disco and Karaoke. So yeah, we will talk about how we both got into DJing, and obviously you're the guest, so you go first.
Yeah, so
have a sip of the water that's not vodka.
You take a drink. You take a drink. So yeah, I got into DJing from I'm sure many of you have family member. He was a DJ. He had his own DJ business, and you know, as a curious teenager, you're wandering up. And you're wondering, like, what are they doing? Are they just pushing buttons? Eh?
I'm pretty sure most curious teenagers aren't pushing buttons. On the phone.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
One-handed on the phone.
He was the family DJ.
Yeah.
He would do all the events, and, you know, I'd just go and pester him, you know, my cousin. So, and...
Just still talk to him?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I still talk to him to this day.
Yeah, nice.
It's well started.
Yeah. We've both been there when, as you said, you were pestering him. We've both been there when we've been pestered.
Yeah.
And the thoughts that go through your mind, most of them are, I never want to see you again because you're annoying us. Yeah, that's quite nice. I think as well, I don't know if you believe this or not, but this is God's honest hand on my heart truth. And obviously relating back to my brother. So my first gig, I was 9 years old. I'm going to say gig. Right.
Child exploitation.
It was my nan's 70th birthday at the Meadows, I believe. My mum was watching this. She'll correct me on everything, right? So at the Meadows, it was her 70th, and I found out today, also wedding anniversary. But I was 9 years old, and me and my brother, Sam, who built the light box, we took the computer modem and the monitor and computer speakers to the Meadows, set up on a pub table, and played a disc that we'd ripped called I Love the 70s, something like that. There was about 50 70s tracks on there. And we played it through a Windows Media Player, DJing. And we had these really crappy lights. And I remember there were 3 in like a plastic box that were powered by AA batteries. And that was like my first gig. So, yeah.
You got to start somewhere, guys.
Exactly. And that's what this podcast will mention. We have to start somewhere. And I think without that first gig, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Yeah.
Because it was from that kind of got me interested. And also what got me interested was my family, again, going back to the family ties, was always down the Scout Hut. My childhood was down the Scout Hut. I was part of the Beavers. I remember doing I'd Promise to be kind and helpful, to try my best and to love God. Beavers on, not Scouts, so I never went to the Scouts. And there was a DJ, a fantastic DJ there called Clive Rankin. And again, I was obsessed with what Clive did. Seeing Clive play this music to have a crowd up singing and dancing was something magical. And just standing next to him on stage, watching what he was doing, was something magical. And that wasn't on a computer modem. That was probably either vinyl or CDJs back in the day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Clive did pass away in a motorbike accident. But again, I think it's from kind of that without Clive and without my nan having a 70th, I don't think I'd be where I was today. And without my brother making that light box. And as you said, starting somewhere, that's taught me the progression and improvement of my business. And I can tell you this, my first professional sound system was brought for me by my mum and dad from Maplin's. Yeah, we all love Maplin's. All your DJs out there.
Maplin's.
There's some DJs going Maplin's.
Do you remember the smoke in a can in a spray?
I used to buy that tech at college. I just think I was so cool just to sit there and just go spray it in someone's bag.
But for those of you that aren't aware, Maplin's was, it's fantastic. It was your go-to place.
It was, for cables and lights.
Cables, lights. I think I remember they even dabbled in powered speakers, which for me, I mean...
And electrical goods and electrical toys and stuff like that, but we never went in for the electrical goods and toys. We were in there for the DJ stuff.
DJ related, yeah. And I remember going in there again with my cousin because it was, he had his business up and running, and he was using passive speakers at the time.
My first were passive.
Yeah. My first were PVs.
And you know what? I'll tell you this, right? There were the Maplin's own brand, and we keep on going back to my brother Sam on this. He was the one that you set it up for me because I was too scared to wire it up in case I blew it up.
I know the feeling.
So bearing in mind, I must have been... I was at secondary school and it was my family Christmas party. Again, that family ties. And I remember my mum and dad buying me the amp and the speakers. Sam, I don't even think he looked at the instructions, to be honest. I think he just went, yeah, I don't need them. I set it all up. And he wouldn't tell me how to set it up. He said, I'll do it for you. If you do it wrong, you'll blow it up. And I thought blow it up like SpongeBob kind of explosion under the sea. Yeah.
Careful, SpongeBob. Just 2 drops of that stuff could...
Got it. 2 drops.
Blow our faces off.
So I was petrified of wiring this thing up. Not realising I'd blow the speakers up, as in
blow the amp.
And the amps and whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, that was always kind of interesting. Like I said, you've got to start somewhere, and obviously getting the amps. I mean, I would never use passive again. That's my opinion. I may be short for that.
It's a very touchy subject. I know a lot of people and a lot of DJs still swear by passive speakers. They have their place. They have their place, which we'll touch on, I'm sure. I personally still use powered speakers.
Yeah.
I believe powered speakers, they are a lot more easier to use. For those that don't know what powered speakers are, what we're talking about, a powered speaker is a speaker with the amp built in it, instead of a passive speaker where you've got a speaker box and then you need to bring the amp to power those speakers. It's a lot less to carry.
And I think as well for mobile DJs, I do think powered speakers are kind of the way forward. They're less to carry. And, I know in one of the pubs in town, which we'll talk about in a different episode, they now have the passive amps on there. DJs can be snobs. DJs stand there and they look at other DJs, don't they? And they're kind of...
we criticise.
Yeah, there's 2 reactions. There's, which means you're rubbish, and there's, which means you're good. And they're both the same. Yeah. But they have the place. They don't move, they stay there. But it's also how you want to DJ and your style of DJing that matters. But gear and equipment is important. You get what you pay for. And
100%.
We all know that. You can go out and buy Carlsberg speakers. They were good in their heyday. Those things are a lot better now. I don't know if you can still buy them. You probably can somewhere. Facebook Market.
From I've seen a few knocking about.
Yeah. I'm not going to name brands because it will be here forever on about what the best brand is, which this isn't what it is. But it's important you get what you pay for. So I think starting up, obviously you are going to go for the cheaper stuff because you are starting up. And it's doing those cheaper gigs for the family, for friends. And I remember I was doing pub gigs for free to say, if you like me, keep me. I'll do the first one free and the next one you pay me. Which, I think that's kind of a way to get into DJing is the experience. I know for a fact that if anybody says to me I'm interested in DJing, I will talk to them. I will have a chat with them. And if people are polite enough when I've finished and sober enough, I will say, well, come and have a look at the equipment. I post videos on TikTok, but I don't do it to But that is a thing, though. People are earning money on TikTok, especially DJs. Since we're on the subject of TikTok DJs.
Yeah, I use TikTok. Again, I don't even know if I'm using it right. I just use it as an extra platform to promote my business. I'll take photos and videos throughout the night when I get a chance. And it's all about showing people what I can create.
Of course. I think as well with that, I know one of my inspirations, and we often talk about him, is TJ on TikTok.
Yes.
If you're watching this, TJ, let us know.
Yes, please.
I have the gravity stands that I didn't even see until TJ posted them on his TikTok. Wonderful videos of how quick to set things up. Same as my DJ booth, my Cosmopod. I saw TJ with a Cosmopod, fell in love with the booth, ordered one myself. And I think that kind of way of using TikTok and DJing to help other DJs out, it's quite a good thing, to be fair. And hopefully this podcast will help people out. I don't know if it will or not.
If it helps one person get into DJing, I think you're on the right track.
Of course, yeah. Let's move on a little bit.
Yeah,
we have got notes. It is our first show. Bear with us, right? So, I don't know where we are. We spoke about equipment, lighting. What about lighting?
So, I love lights. I'm sure you all do. If you're a DJ, you want the flashy lights, you want the dots. But I'm very particular because, I've gone through the stages of having the cheap lighting versus having the more higher end lighting.
We've all been there.
Yeah. We all fall into the trap of keeping up with the Joneses. You see something, you go out and buy it without any regard as to whether it's actually viable.
Yeah, again, I YouTube and look on TikTok as well now. If I'm going to buy a light, I YouTube it. I know you do.
Yep.
Look on YouTube, I look at reviews, I put it in TikTok because other DJs have got them and they show them. But yeah, there's so much to do with lighting out there. And funny story about lighting, it was that I used to be a Sam to Light DJ, right? We've all been there, we've all done it, right? And I was a guest at a wedding, because my friends didn't book me. Yeah, so I was a guest at a wedding whilst they were doing their first dance, and the DJ goes, "Please welcome Mr. and Mrs. to the floor," whatever. The lights were going mad to the sound of his voice. And then there was a bit of a beat to the song, too much of a beat, should I say, to the song. Yeah. And the lights were going whapper. And either the DJ had the sensitivity up full, or it was on sound to light and the song was too bad. I don't know. It was a very beautiful wedding. It was a very nice wedding. I'm not by any means saying it wasn't, but that's what DJs do. Whilst they were doing their first dance, I went, oh dear, that's how my lights look when I do a first dance. So during that first dance, I'd gone online, Googled light control, I can't remember what I Googled, and come up with a My DMX3, which is an amazing bit of kit because it allows you to control your lights. It does make an improvement when you can control your lights. For me, I think I don't go over the top. I like to give as much as I can with lights. My moving heads have the love heart gobos in, so when they do the first dance, there's love hearts on the floor. And you get people go, oh wow, and take pictures of them. And when you see the wedding pictures back with them love hearts on the floor, they are really nice photos.
Yeah, and I fully agree with what you're saying. Like yourself, I was in that little zone, so to speak, would master DMX my lights. Anyone that isn't aware, you're just connecting the lights cable to cable. And like say you're doing weddings, and when the bride's in the white dress, and the photographer's there taking photos, and you've just got dots or well,
that's when you get the photographer. Can you turn your laser off, please?
Yeah, you've just got...
Sorry, photographers. Take your laser off. It interferes with my camera. I think for a beginner DJ, the key of it would be to try and get your hands on a decent collection of music. Biggest advice, avoid, like the plague, YouTube downloads and YouTube streams. They're terrible quality. I mean, I know DJs now that use YouTube and they rip YouTube. It's terrible. It sounds absolutely pants. I use Mastermix.
Yeah.
I get all my music from Mastermix, decent files, they sound good. I told you the other day about when I was setting up at a place, I'm not naming places, and another DJ was there and said, "Hey up mate, the sound's different from that one to that one." I had to explain him that's how the track was actually produced, to the point that it's mixed, so it gives you that kind of like surround sort of sound. He didn't get it. He went, "Oh well, I just use this audio jack and plug it into that speaker." I was like, "Okay." There was a sort of arrogance about him that I'm the world's best DJ.
Yeah.
Which we know a few of them. We don't name names. We know a few world's best DJs which criticise what we do. Yet there's never a positive comment. There's never it looks good.
Yeah.
It's never that's impressive, or that's cool. Where'd you get that from? It's always are you sure you're doing that right? Are you sure you should put that there? And this is my set. To kind of say it's better than yours. I just don't think that's how DJs should be in this day and age.
No, DJs, like me, yourself, I know there's others that will probably end up on here in this seat.
Yes.
We're a tight community, and that's how it should be. That's what DJing's all about.
I think the nicest thing between our little group of DJs that we have is that when we're on the phone, I'm booked, I can refer another DJ, and I know that if I refer you, I know for a fact you'll turn up. If you're available, you'll take the booking, you'll turn up. You won't let them down, and I know you're good enough to be there. And it's the same with you. You ring me, or you're booked, or I ring another DJ friend and say, do you want this gig, do you want that gig? And again, that's kind of tailored to what kind of we know. So one of my other DJ mates, I wouldn't ring him and say, do you want a 21st birthday party? Because he would go, I ain't doing a 21st birthday party, I like the older stuff. I was going to say I'm too old for a 21st birthday party. He's a guest on the show soon, so I can't say too much. But, so it's nice to kind of have that referral that gig would fit you perfectly. Whereas I know this gig will fit him perfectly. So that's quite a nice thing in our little DJ community that we've got, that we can refer friends and know they are trusted. Yeah,
100%. Going back to what you were saying about where to get the music from, I know you said Mastermix, and I'm the same. I get most of my music from Mastermix. Mm-hmm. I do subscribe to a music pool. To be honest, if you're beginning, I would probably avoid subscribing, because yes, it's good for some of the tracks.
Yes.
But I can hand on heart say that 95% of them I've never played, and they're just sat taking up space.
Well, the thing with Mastermix was that they do the collections. So you'll get a group of their albums for a discounted price, which, as we know, they've also released the USB collection.
Yeah.
So as well, for a DJ that's just starting up, Mastermix worth taking a look at, because you've got 100%. The USB collections. If they say, I want to be a 90s DJ, they can go onto Mastermix. They can download the collection of music, the top 100 hits from the 90s, which you will play. You will play them. They're the top 100, not top 100 hits as in charts. They're the top 100 hits that DJs play.
Yes.
Which is a massive difference. So they're put together by DJs for that reason. So if you're starting up, Mastermix, just go through the website and have a look, because my hard drive is full to the top with music.
We've all got
things
ramped. That we don't use.
But since I went onto Mastermix, I don't use my hard drive.
Same for me.
Yeah,
so, the USB collections that they have, I think they're like £125, which...
Not if you pre-order.
Not if you pre-order, like I've just done.
By the way, this is not sponsored by Mastermix. Just put that in there. Definitely. We're just talking about Mastermix.
But for that amount of money, 125, if you're just starting out, you're getting over 400 tracks I believe, from some of them.
It's a bargain. I want to kind of go back to the conversation we had about starting off as a DJ. So, obviously, I was young. I was still in secondary school. It's saying a sob story, by the way. So I was still in secondary school. Obviously, I was in the same year as your brother.
Yes.
So I remember I kind of was known in school as a DJ, and I think that it was strange for a lot of students because it was a case of you're a DJ at your age, and I think most of them, it sounds daft, didn't understand what a DJ was.
Yeah.
Because I've done school discos where students have gone into that hall and they've never seen a disco before, they've never seen a DJ before, and they've gone, wow, and they don't know what it is. Which is why I always try and do school discos whenever I can, because it means a lot to see these kids having a brilliant time, enjoying music, and just having a good time, especially like proms. I love a good prom because there's just something there for those students. I mean, I used to work in a school myself, so obviously I've kind of seen in proms from working in schools as well, the moving on to the next stage of life and then being emotional with their friends. And I think I didn't have a prom because there weren't enough people that brought the tickets for the prom, so it got cancelled by Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh cancelled it.
Mr. Singh, if you're watching.
Yeah, I quite like Mr. Singh, to be fair. I know a lot of people didn't because they were naughty, but I thought it was okay with me. I mean, I was a little bit naughty as well, so my dad and my mum had many conversations with him. They did have one conversation with the school about when, this is a true story, when the science teacher asked what is the hottest part of the sun. I replied about page 3.
It's a good job I won't drink.
Yeah. And with that led to a meeting of my mum and dad in the school with, I think it was Mrs. Singh. And when they sat down and said, your son has been inappropriate in lesson, hottest part of the sun, page 3, I just saw my dad smile. Part of it was like, I can't tell you off, but then part of it was really funny. Part of it was like, you're here for education. But yeah, kind of going back to that, I was supposed to work on the market as well, but I got bullied for working. And I could never work out why. Because I used to watch you get paid in bananas, because I obviously work on the market for a veg store. And I was like, I used to say to him, why would I be paid in bananas? What you're saying does not make sense. It stopped when I did someone's wedding. Because I did somebody's wedding and another student was there. One student that did bully me was there. And I think they just felt embarrassed because everyone was up singing and dancing all night. There's a young DJ behind the decks. I must have been about 13 at the time. Really, really good night. And they were shocked. But then on the Sunday morning, I'd walked over to the shopping centre and a group of lads that used to bully me were in McDonald's with a very good friend of mine as well, called Jamil. Jamil Bott, I don't know if you remember Jamil Bott. But Jamil is a friend that is one of those that I haven't seen for years, but whenever I see him, it's like we haven't had a day apart. We used to sit next to each other in science, and we just, used to mess up science, you mess around, didn't you? Page 3. You know what I mean? So, and I went into Jamil, because he was with the people who used to bully me, and the reason why I carried on speaking to Jamil, because Jamil used to always tell them, stop taking the mick. Stop taking the mick out of Paul. He's working. He's got a job at his age earning money. And they kind of didn't listen to him. So what I did was obviously weddings. We all know weddings pay a little bit more because we work harder, not because we're daylight robbers, because we work harder at weddings.
There's much more in
Yeah, of course. And I remember walking in to McDonald's and I pulled my wallet out and I said to Jamil, you know how everyone here bullies me? I said, do you think they're going to bully me when they see all this money in my wallet? That my mum's not gave me this, I've earned this. And the bullying stopped. It stopped that day. And what made me laugh then was about 2 weeks after, another lad that used to bully me at school was working on the market. And you know what? I think it sounds daft. Without that market, again, I wouldn't be where I am now. Because it taught me communication skills, which is important as a DJ. Customer skills. We put up with drunken customers. Yeah. I don't know how the bar staff do it all night. We do it, once or twice a weekend. But they do it more or less every day.
To the bar staff out there.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of one of the things that our life experience pushes in that direction from And I actually remember leaving, when I left the market, to go into work in schools and teach. I remember writing a card to the stall owner, Simone, and thanking her, saying, I appreciate so much what you've done for me. Because I don't think she realised how much of an impact that job had on my life. You know, it put me in my place in order to do what I want to do, behaviour-wise. If I got detention, I couldn't go and work. So it put me in my place and gave me key life skills.
Yeah, no, that's good. And the same for me. I don't think I'd be where I am in my DJ career if it wasn't for being on the stage with my cousin, looking at him like you say, he's got people on the dance floor and they're reacting to the songs that he's playing. It's triggering that emotional response, which as a DJ now, that's what I strive for. I want to take the clients, the customers, whatever you want to call them, the people dancing. I want to take them on a journey through their life.
Yes.
And you can see it in their faces when you're playing a track from the 70s or 60s.
I've not heard this in ages. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's the blokes.
And when you're playing these songs, you can see it in their faces. You can see the fact that they just remembered what they were doing when that song was released.
Do you know what? I was thinking about this earlier on. I obviously growing up on the market with older friends. They used to be able to say to me, "Oh, I remember when this song came out, 1973," and they could tell me exactly where they were and exactly what they were doing and how old they were, right? And I don't know if it probably is just me, but nowadays, if somebody says, "Oh yeah, let's use Bills for example," right? That was a massive song. You know that one, "I've got bills."
Yeah.
So I know the song. I remember it coming out. I don't know what year it was.
Don't know what I was doing.
I haven't got a clue. You know, and I know a lot of older people can go, "Oh yeah, you know, this was released in 1976, the hottest summer we had in the UK," and they remember it from a song. I hear a song and I go, "Oh, okay, yeah, I remember it being massive. I can't remember how old I was." Another one is that "Somebody I Used to Know."
Again, so
It was massive.
It was massive. But
What year was it?
What year? I mean, as DJs, we should
We
know
should
this.
know.
Uh,
We know when we're DJing because it tells us.
it tells us, yeah.
Oh, DJ secret there. Keep that one to yourselves.
So, no, going back, I know we keep doing this. This is his first time.
A bit.
Yeah. You want someone to get something out.
Yeah.
What we do, and if you're someone out there that wants to get into DJing, doesn't know where to start, I think this is the place. Guys, especially beginner DJs. We're talking about lighting. You've got the Chauvet gig bar.
Yeah.
Which is an all-in-one system for DJs. That's phenomenal.
I still use it. I know a lot of DJs like criticise them on Facebook.
Yeah.
Now. Oh yeah, but when it come out, that was like I have. Is it 8 lights in one?
Yeah,
8 lights in one with one power cable. I have done many gigs where I have just took that.
Yeah.
And it's worked. So to summarise what we've basically just said for the last
20 minutes.
40 minutes. Master Mix, get your music from a
Trusted
reliable, trustable source because it will make a difference. No YouTube rips. Avoid YouTube rips. And also, avoid streaming. I know it's tempting to go, "Oh, I haven't got this song, I'll stream it." Get those songs paid for. You'll support the artist.
Support the artist.
But the sound quality will be...
And not
10
only
times
that,
better.
if you're streaming at a wedding, if you're having to stream the first dance at a wedding,
And the Wi-Fi goes...
and the Wi-Fi goes, or
I couldn't do it. We've all streamed songs.
Yeah,
I've not got it. I plug my phone in. We've all done it.
you've been there, you're streaming.
Yeah, but we can tell
Yeah.
that from when we've played our music that we've got on our USBs or on our laptop to then I haven't got it, plug my phone in. We can tell by the quality that this is being streamed.
Oh, you know the quality, and if you don't remember to put "Do Not Disturb" on, and you get a text message,
Yeah, I've done
Oh
that.
my
No,
God.
I did that to Paddy. So Paddy, he will be on the show. I tried to avoid his
you're
name.
giving all the guests
I know.
away.
I remember someone said to him, "Have you got this song?" And he went, "No." And he put it on his phone. And I stood outside and I kept on ringing him whilst it was playing. His ringtones
Sabotage.
coming through the sound.
Sabotage.
It was only a pub gig in town, you know what I mean? A residential gig. It wasn't someone's wedding. I'm not that cruel. But yeah, so decent, reliable sources of music. But remember that you start somewhere. So don't go out and spend thousands of pounds, which you can easily do. You don't need a very expensive mixer to start off with.
No.
A little party mixer with the little LED lights in the front will do, just to get used to just pressing buttons.
All DJs, we just press buttons. Let's face it.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing I've ever heard.
So I think that's also key. Don't go out and spend so much money because you don't need to.
There are places out there.
Yeah, start somewhere.
Now I'm going to throw one out there because it's where I started. And shout out to the boys there, Alex, Lloyd, Richard.
Oh,
Dan.
yeah.
If you're there,
Woo, 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 woo. Oh, you know what? I think every DJ on this podcast I know, have been to Intersound.
100%.
And it is going to come up. I mean, it was in our plan. It was in the plan to talk about Intersound.
It's going to come up.
But yeah, Intersound are amazing. Are they the last shop in Leicester?
They were
Surviving Music Shop?
Yeah, the last surviving music shop, I believe.
Yeah, just
on Narber Road anyway.
Just moved from Narber Road to Port Pie Island, apparently. It's like a Port Pie,
yeah, Saffron Way.
Yeah, Saffron Way.
So go check them out.
Check them out. They're great chaps down there.
Just brilliant.
You know, it never feels like a shop.
No.
They feel like friends. I don't sound too cheap. They feel like family.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Got any gigs coming up? You can have a chin wag. They'll make you a coffee. The amount of times I've been in there. Coffee, please. I'm sure Alex knows how I have my coffee now, to be honest. But yeah, Intersound. Check them out. If you're in Leicester, that is. Yeah. They're online. They ship out. They're online.
They ship.
Yeah. So if you're starting up and you're watching this in Somerset.
I know someone in Somerset.
There you go. It was the furthest place I could think of, to be honest. I'm sure they'll ship to Somerset. And they do installations for schools and churches.
Yeah, they do all sorts.
Do you know what means a lot to me, right? Is that when it's been a busy night, I always shout out the bar staff when it's been busy, because obviously they work just as hard as us. So I always give a quick shout out to the bar staff. But then what makes it for me is when customers come up to us, brilliant, they shake my hand, they say thank you, they appreciate it. Because normally, lads all at the bar, and they go. But when they come up and say, oh, cheers, brilliant night, Paul, or yeah, brilliant night, DJ, that makes it.
Yeah.
That is such a fantastic feeling, because you feel valued rather than standing on your feet. We never sit down. We don't sit down.
That's one thing I can't do.
So we're going to finish off with a quick fire questions. So I ask you a few questions, and you just give me your answer. It's that simple. So, what is your go-to first track to open up?
Oh, that is a tough one because it changes.
I'm glad you said that.
I couldn't just pick one track to open up every gig I did. I mean, I'd like to open up with "Let Me Entertain You," and I do sometimes because what a track that is.
Okay, so club gig or a private gig, what would you prefer?
Club gig? Do you mean like resident?
Yeah, so a resident DJ, a bar, and then a private gig as a birthday or a wedding.
Interesting question, because they both have their place, and as someone who is a resident DJ at the moment, you kind of get to meet new people.
Yeah. And
some regulars. And whereas a private gig, you never know how it's going to be.
Of course. And there's a lot of lifting.
There's a lot of lifting. The venue might not have a lift. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Name one track that you know that will always get a crowd moving. What? Don't say cha-cha slide.
Yeah, no, that's a tough one. But one track that always gets a response, Mr. Brightside.
Okay, this is an interesting one. Have you got a pre-gig ritual? Anything you do before a gig?
I used to. So I used to have 2 energy drinks. I used to always take the 2 energy drinks, and I'd always, if it's a wedding, I'd always have my suit prepared. Always just make sure that they were there in the car. But now having come off the energy drinks, because it's so bad for you.
We've all done them. We've all done gigs on energy drinks.
Yeah.
Okay. Dream event or location to DJ? Because it's a tricky one, because I don't think I've got one.
I think the best, like the place for me that I would love to DJ at. Not necessarily DJ, just play the music. It's got to be Anfield.
Of course, yeah.
You knew I was going to talk about football.
Yeah. Well, I knew you were, but I didn't realise that would be your dream. Yeah. Anyway, that being said, we have got to go because we've been on here for an hour now.
We are.
But by the magic of editing,
it will seem
like half an hour. Who knows? Anyway, Michael, thanks for coming on the first episode. Thanks for the chat. Wishing you the best of luck with all your DJing, and of course, I mean, I'm not a football fan, but I hope Liverpool win whenever they play. I don't know when the next playing. I didn't know the season was over. Actually, I do know the season was over because of what happened recently, which we won't go into. Because we could talk for ages about it. But it was a shame. I'm not a fan of football, but I know it's affected a lot of people, and I know it's affected a lot of friends. It was a shame that happened. We are going to go. Thanks for coming on to the show.
Cheers, man.
And we will catch up soon. Hi, I'm recording this from home because I forgot to record it when I was with MJ at the pub. Thanks for getting to the end of the episode. It was interesting to make. We appreciate it if you got this far. The full 1 hour version, it's just over an hour, is available on Spotify. How cool is that? It's available on Spotify. It's unedited. It's completely raw. We talk a lot of malarkey. There's a few laughs and a few jokes, and all the bloopers are left in. Next episode we've got a really good friend of mine joining us, Yale. Really good friend. And we're going to talk about a little story about when I left him in me